Welcome back friends. Welcome back to another video session from this channel. So in this video session we will be studying regarding the specific mechanism or the specific process which is involved in organizing the rRNA synthesis. Is it clear? So what exactly happens during the specific mechanism or the specific process which is in association with the rRNA synthesis? So here, in order to organize the rRNA synthesis, the specific transcription mechanism or the transcription process, it takes the advantage of a specific enzyme, and that specific enzyme, it is nothing but what? RNA polymerase 1. Is it clear? RNA polymerase 1, it is the enzyme which is responsible for the synthesis of 5.8S rRNA, 18S rRNA and 28S rRNA. Is it clear? So let me write it on the board. What it is? RNA polymerase 1. RNA polymerase 1. So here it is responsible for the expression of 5.8S rRNA, 18S rRNA and 28S rRNA. Is it clear? So all these three RNAs, they are successfully synthesized by taking the advantage of an enzyme, and that specific enzyme, it is nothing but what? RNA polymerase 1. Is it clear? So here, in order to synthesize the various RNAs, the specific transcription mechanism or the transcription process, it takes the advantage of a specific site which is a part of the double-stranded genomic sequence, and that specific site, it is nothing but what? Promoter. Is it clear? So here the specific promoter which is required for organizing the rRNA synthesis, basically it consists of two different components. So what are the two different components here? The two different components, they are nothing but what? Core promoter, and the other component is nothing but what? Regulatory element. Is it clear? So let me write it on the board. What it is? Core promoter and the other one is nothing but what? Regulatory element. Regulatory element. So here let us assume it as the 5' end, and here it is nothing but the 3' end. Is it clear? And here let us assume it has the 3' end and it is nothing but the 5' end. So here basically the specific promoter, it consists of two different components, and these include core promoter and the other one is nothing but what? Regulatory element. So here let us assume it has the core promoter. Core promoter. Core promoter element. Is it clear? And here it is nothing but what? Regulatory element. Regulatory element. So here, in order to organize the specific transcription mechanism or the transcription process, the enzyme which is required for organizing the rRNA synthesis, it is nothing but what? RNA polymerase 1. Is it clear? What it is? RNA polymerase 1. RNA polymerase 1. So in addition to the RNA polymerase 1, certain other factors which are required for organizing the rRNA synthesis, they are nothing but what? SL1 and as well as UBF. Is it clear? What it is? SL1 and UBF. So here at the very beginning of the rRNA synthesis, here the specific factor which is nothing but SL1, it comes into the picture. So here what is SL1 here? The specific SL1, it acts as a mediator for organizing the rRNA synthesis. So here basically the specific SL1, it is a tetramer. That means it possesses or it consists of 4 identical subunits. So what are the 4 identical subunits here? The 4 identical subunits, they are nothing but what? Tata binding protein. Is it clear? Tata binding protein, and the other 3 factors, they are nothing but what? Transcription factors. So let me write it here. Tata binding protein, simply termed as TBP, and the other 3 are nothing but what? Transcription factors. So as I have already mentioned you earlier, during the mRNA synthesis, which is organized by taking the advantage of RNA polymerase II, the specific mRNA synthesis which is organized by taking the advantage of RNA polymerase II, the specific RNA polymerase II itself, it is unable to recruit to the promoter region. In order to recruit to the promoter region, the RNA polymerase II, it takes the advantage of certain general transcription factors. Is it clear? In the same way, in case of the rRNA synthesis, the specific RNA polymerase 1, prior to the successful recruitment of core promoter, the RNA polymerase 1, it takes the advantage of certain mediators, and they are nothing but what? SL1. So here the specific SL1, it is composed of 2 different components, and they are nothing but what? Tata binding protein. Tata binding protein, and as well as 3 transcription factors. So here the specific SL1, which is in tetramer, it successfully recruits here. So let me present it here. So it is nothing but what? SL1, right? So it is nothing but the Tata binding protein. Is it clear? It is nothing but the Tata binding protein, and all these 3 are the transcription factors. So after the successful recruitment of SL1 to the regulatory element, in the very next step, one more other factor it comes into the picture, and it is nothing but what? Upstream binding factor. So as the name itself suggests, upstream binding factor, that means this is the specific factor which successfully recruits to the upstream end of the double-stranded genomic sequence. Is it clear? Simply termed as UBF. So after the successful recruitment of SL1 and as well as upstream binding factor to the regulatory element, in the very next step, the RNA polymerase 1, which is responsible for organizing the rRNA synthesis, it comes into the picture. Is it clear? RNA polymerase 1. So here if we consider the specific core promoter, the specific core promoter element, basically it is rich in GC rich nucleotide sequence. What it is? GC rich nucleotide sequence. So here the entire core promoter element, it is rich in GC rich nucleotide sequence, but except the specific element which is responsible for incorporating the RNTPs, it is nothing but what? Initiator element. The entire core promoter, it is rich in GC rich nucleotide sequence, except the specific element which is responsible for incorporating the RNTPs or for initiating the incorporation of the RNTPs, and it is nothing but what? Initiator element. And the specific initiator element, it is simply termed as what? INR. What it is? INR, or initiator element. So here the specific initiator element, it is quite homologous to the transcription start site which is used in case of the prokaryotic transcription mechanism. Is it clear? That means once when the RNA polymerase 1, when it successfully recruits to the core promoter, here the specific transcription start site, it is the specific site where exactly the RNA polymerase 1, it incorporates the very first RNTP. So the reason why it is termed as what? Transcription start site. Transcription start site, or it is otherwise termed as initiator element. And here the specific initiator element, it is simply termed as INR. So here the entire core promoter, it is rich in GC rich nucleotide sequence, but whereas the specific initiator element, it is rich in AT rich nucleotide sequence. So let me write it here. Initiator element, it is rich in AT rich nucleotide sequence. AT rich nucleotide sequence. So here you may get a small clarification. As I have already mentioned you earlier, the entire core promoter, it is rich in GC rich nucleotide sequence, but whereas the specific initiator element, it is rich in AT rich nucleotide sequence. Why? What is the reason behind? Because as we all know, in nature the weakest hydrogen bonding, it relies in between A and T. So here once when the specific RNA polymerase 1, when it successfully recruits to the core promoter, under such condition the specific RNA polymerase 1, it takes the advantage of initiator element, because as we all know the weakest hydrogen bonding in between the two successive nitrogenous bases, it relies in between A and T. Is it clear? So by taking this point into consideration, the specific initiator element, it is rich in AT rich nucleotide sequence, so that the RNA polymerase 1, when it successfully recruits to the core promoter, under such condition the RNA polymerase 1, it is capable to unwind the double stranded genomic sequence so accurately, because the specific initiator element, it is rich in AT rich nucleotide sequence. So once when the RNA polymerase 1, when it is capable to unwind the double stranded genomic sequence so accurately, under such condition the RNA polymerase 1, it is capable to incorporate the RNTPs. So the very first RNTP which successfully incorporates by the RNA polymerase 1, it is denoted as what? +1. Is it clear? What it is? +1. So here it is nothing but what? Transcription start site or the initiator element. So once when the RNA polymerase 1, when it is capable to unwind the double stranded genomic sequence, and once when it is capable to incorporate the RNTPs, under such condition, here the synthesis of rRNA, it takes place so accurately. Is it clear? So this is regarding the specific mechanism or the specific process which is involved in organizing the rRNA synthesis.